Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to today's conversation on Gift of Healing TV. This is part of our series, Selfish or Harder to Manipulate, with the authors of I Didn't Become Selfish, I Became Harder to Manipulate. I am Sara Jane, and my co-host is Scott Holmes. Scott, welcome.
Thank you.
And our two guests, as I said, authors from our book, Linda Binns. Linda, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. Thanks.
And Sara Troy. Sara, thank you.
Glad to be here. Hi, everyone.
Right. We've got a couple of topics that we're going to be talking about, but I'm going to start by asking our two guests to share just a little about themselves and why they chose to participate in this book. So I'm going to come to you, Sara, first.
Coming to me first? Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm Sara Troy. I'm a professional podcaster. And, I'm very honored that you asked me to be a part of this. I interview so many people where we actually talk about, the selfishness of putting yourself first or in your self-discovery of healing. And that especially for the older generation, where it was always about, don't be so selfish. Everybody else needs to come first before you. And now we know it needs to be the other way around because you can't help anyone else until you've helped yourself. So to be a part of this book was a no-brainer because this is something that we really need to talk about and let people know that it isn't selfish to have self-love and self-care. It's absolutely essential if you've got anything else that you want to give.
Short and sweet. Thank you, Sara. Linda.
So I'm an energy coach, and I've been working with helping people to understand and master their energy and the energy around them and how it impacts them so that they can't be manipulated for about 26 years now. So, I just love what I do. I was someone who was very easy to manipulate, such a people pleaser. And so I just love the title of the book. It just really resonated with me. So.
Bless you. Thank you. And Scott is also one of 7 gentlemen who participated in the book, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm going to hand over to you, Scott.
Well, thank you very much. Only 7. You say only 7, but when you look at these collaborations, the books that are normally written, you have 25 authors and 2 are men. So I've gotten used to being a unicorn. When I was learning yoga, I was the man in the room. I stayed in the back corner. I tried to keep away from everybody, not make anybody uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden the wife said, I've been trying to get my husband to come. You're coming every week. What? You going to be here next week? Yeah. So they would bring their husbands. All of a sudden there's 5 or 6 guys that now are coming to yoga. Now it's because guys are very uncomfortable sharing their feelings. They're sharing, they're being vulnerable. And it's very, very tough. So in doing this, it was surprising to me that there were men that were willing to say, yes, I've been there. I was myself was the king people pleaser. Someone would call and I would put on my Superman cape and I would rush off to save. No matter what was going on in my life, I interrupted it to take care of other people. And what I found, thanks to Sara in bringing this out, is even more so was that I keep the cape in the closet now, and I don't take it out as quickly or as often. Or, by the way, is it really truly needed? Mm-hmm. The people that were calling now find ways to solve their own problems or have another avenue. And I'm not so easy going. I have a bit better boundaries around me when it comes to that, and that's a wonderful thing. Sara, I love self-care. Mm-hmm. The very, very first book that I wrote in was about being self-care when you are taking care of somebody long-term. My wife had cancer on and off for 20 years. And when you take care of somebody long-term, their needs always come first, and you don't think anything of it.
Exactly.
And you can't give of yourself endlessly. So that self-care is there. How do you create a space for yourself to be able to give self-care?
It was a long lesson in getting there, because I was the people pleaser, the appeaser, bending into a pretzel for everyone else. Who cares if I've lost a limb along the way? I'm here to serve everybody else. And until I became completely depleted, and I called that the cosmic 2x4, saying, I'm going to flatten you, and from the ashes you have to rise. And I realized that I had to look after me, because nobody else would. And I'm no good to anyone else until I look after me. I cannot give what I don't have. And so it became that the biggest thing, though, was permission to myself. I didn't need permission from anyone else. I was the one that had to give myself permission and say, it's okay to put yourself first. Because we're brought up, especially, my generation, stop being so selfish. Who do you think you are? And it's like, we have to be a little selfish when I call it self-care and self-love. Because if we don't do that, what have we got to give? And if we don't do that, we don't have any boundaries. And people will carry on taking from us if we do not say, hold a moment, thank you very much. I'm unable at this moment to do anything for you. And I will when I can, if I can. And it's okay to say that. And it's also okay to say no.
And no is a complete sentence.
It is. It is. And it's a hard thing to say if you've been a people pleaser.
Very, very much so.
So that is a lesson in itself.
Linda, how do you, and you've been working in this industry for over 20 years, and how do you take care of yourself?
Well, it was a concept that was incredibly foreign to me before. One of the turning points, I think, for me was many years ago when I'd first started my business, and I had a really good friend who's an energy healer. And there was somebody in my life, another business person, who had kind of attached herself to me. And she was a very rude, aggressive kind of person. And at that time, I had been learning more about how the people in our lives reflect back to us something about ourselves. And I was saying to my friend, the energy healer, I get that concept. I really understand that concept, but I don't understand what she's reflecting back to me about myself, because I could never treat anybody else that way. There's no way I could talk to people like that. And my friend very gently said, no, but you are very mean to yourself. And I thought, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time I really saw that I didn't know what self-care was. I didn't know how to do something nice for myself. It just would never even have occurred to me. And so it was actually, although it sounds strange, it was actually really hard for me to start thinking about, what do I want? How do I take care of myself? What is it that I need? But I started to do that gradually and got better at it over time. But that, I think, was the real turning point for me to really see how I treated myself.
It's a big one.
And Sara Jane?
Well, that's just it. How do we treat ourselves? And I think that has to be the big question for people is, what are you doing for yourself? And there's just something I've sort of briefly written today is, where do you come on the list of the priority people in your life? And I think for majority of us, we're not even on that list. It's not even a matter of we're on the bottom. We're not on it.
Yeah.
And think about when you introduce yourself to somebody. Oh, I'm so-and-so's wife. You don't say, I wouldn't have said, oh, I'm Sarah, so-and-so's wife. I'm so-and-so's wife. How many mothers do that about their children? Oh, I'm so-and-so's mother. You know, sort of, and the same goes for the gentleman.
Yes.
This isn't about women. It is just about human beings, period. We're we all do these things. And it was getting to that stage where it's just like, actually, this is about me. But I would still go back to that light bulb in the kitchen one day. Why am I worrying about what other people think about me when they're not?
Exactly.
And it was just like, and that was almost, one, the weight lifted off, but that was almost the permission. Well, stop worrying about that and now start thinking about yourself. And that's the important thing is, and how many of my clients do I say, make a point of giving yourself me time? Mm-hmm. You know, whether it's a regular session with somebody like me, somebody else, a walk. I do daily walks out into nature. I've got a woodland over the road, so I can do it very easily. That's my time. No mobile phone or anything goes with me. Mm-hmm. It's my time. And that's what we all require on a regular basis. Now, whether that's a soak in the bath with everybody out the house, whatever it is, it's whatever helps you to just stop and just be with yourself. And there should never, ever be an apology for that. You know, and what do they say? When you say that no, you do not have to give a reason or an excuse.
Right.
And how many of us, when we have found ourselves saying no, said, oh, I'm sorry, I really can't because. Mm-hmm. We don't have to do that. No. So that's the self-care.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 points that you've hit on that I'd love to address. You know, that one of them is that, you know, really, do we have any control of what anybody thinks of us? Do we have any control of what anybody's going to say about us? Right? We can be an absolute angel and they'll see the demon because it's a reflection of themselves, right? And we have no control. And in a lot of ways, it's not even our business. It's their business, right? But that permission to say no and self-care, or, you know, I am Sara, who does this? Or, you know, in my case, I'm a nana. So, you know, nana boy, I have a couple of nana boys. And it's about owning ourselves and putting ourselves first as our introduction of, I am this is my choice of who I am. Take me or leave me, I won't be offended. If you don't, if I'm either your cup of tea or I'm not. And that's okay.
Yeah, it really is. Linda, have you got some thoughts you'd like to add?
Well, yes, I mean, self-care, I think we often tend to think of it purely in terms of something you do for yourself. Mm-hmm. But to me, what I've learned is self-care is how we treat ourselves every day, how we talk to ourselves, the thoughts that we think, whether we're tolerating situations or tolerating disrespect from somebody. It's all of those things. It's how you show up and how you allow people to treat you, and how you treat yourself on a daily basis. And so I see it, yes, we can do things. Going for a walk is a wonderful thing. Walking in the woods, that's one of my favorite things. Just being out in nature, that's something that really rejuvenates me. But I think beyond that, if we think of it in terms of what you do for yourself every single day and how you talk to yourself, how you think, what you're thinking about, and what you're allowing in here, that's also self-care.
Absolutely. It's also a reflection, right? On how other people will treat you. How you treat yourself is the invitation.
Yes, when we really do teach people how to treat us. Yes, and that's a lesson I learned the hard way as well. We all learn our lessons the hard way. That's lessons. But yes, absolutely.
So this past weekend, I had flown out to Denver to see my uncle, who is elderly, and I told him I wanted to see him rather than view him. So there was a friend of mine, a fellow author, and she's out in Denver, and she says, well, I go walking at 5 a.m. I said, ooh, okay, so let's do that. And if you've ever walked in the Rockies, it's just absolutely amazing. The sun's coming up over the hills, and there's all this wildlife, and there's all these things going on. And so we walked for 2 hours. Didn't even realize it. We didn't have a phone, didn't have it. Just walked. I don't do that on a regular basis, but just the ability to do that was tremendous.
Yeah.
And I find that when I talk to young men about their time, their rituals, their practices, it's all about working out, right? They're always working out their body. They're throwing weights around. They're doing whatever it is. And I just asked them, yeah, but what do you do for you? And there is this blank stare, because they've never been taught to take time, that quiet time, that space, that we all need to quiet all the voices down in their heads, to quiet everything else, and to listen to that part of ourselves that is our true voice.
Yeah.
People pleasing always came from my parents. My mother taught me how to take care of everyone else. Never ourselves, but everyone else. She took care of everything. My father, the expectations that were put there. It's all of these things, all these voices. You shoulds, all my shoulds, right? And they built up on my shoulders, and they carried a weight. And it wasn't until I kind of took them off that I was able to really not should myself, but allow myself.
Yes.
And it felt very selfish first, because I was doing it for me. And then I realized that I could not be there for everyone else unless I was whole.
Yeah.
When we work with clients, especially when we're talking about energy, you have to do the work yourself. You have to have done all of it first. All the modalities that I've learned, I did them for me.
Yes.
And then
you're a better teacher.
Yes. And then I pass them along, because, it's great stuff. It's learning. It's, it's the wonderful part of it. And
magical world is allow.
Magic, well, depends on who you're talking to, because you start talking about magic and people roll their eyes and run away very quickly. But in doing this, so we were talking about the internal critics, and that Sara, you're talking about internal critics and how do you, and unmasking them. What did your saboteurs look like when you were younger?
Oh, I still have them. They still pop up and have a chat. I interviewed a professional photographer a couple of times, and she's local. And she said to me, "You know what, Sara? I'm going to do your portrait photograph." And immediately it was, give me somebody to interview, ambassadors, princes, this or that, from anywhere in the world. I'm fine. Suddenly you want to put me in front of a camera and take a photograph of me? And there's still that part of me that is uncomfortable, because there's still that part, and I have to acknowledge it. It's still there, of that insecurity because I don't look perfect. And yet, I'm always saying to people, there is no such thing as perfection. There are perfect moments in time, but there are beautiful things called flawsome. Every single one of us has a wonderful flaw, a crack in our ball. The Japanese puts it back together with gold. I say take all those wonderful cracks and experiences that have shattered you through the life, put your bowl back together with self-love. Now, I've done that on an enormous scale to what I used to be, but there's still those little things that come up at the little saboteur. And she's a professional. I know she'll put me at ease. But at the same time, it's always about what will other people think. And we still have that, but I think it's again back to the word, allow it to have a chat and ask why it's there. Why do you feel insecure? Don't dismiss it. And then again, but you're over that already. You've come this far. That opinion of others isn't so very important anymore. What's the opinion of self? And I think have that conversation with self. Don't dismiss it. Don't block it out. It's there. It's trying to tell you something. And then after you've had that conversation, you realize, you know what? It's not that big a deal. Not that big a deal. But I think if we look at the saboteur and we don't pay attention to it and we don't address it, suddenly it gets bigger and bigger and out of proportion. So I think that, a self-conversation, I think, is really, really important. Why is this popping up? I thought I had dealt with you. And all it is cellular memory. And it's like, address it. Look how far you've come. Look how much you've done. And you can let this one go.
Beautiful. Linda, what of your saboteurs, if it were, what did they look like for you?
Well, I was fortunate enough recently, just over the last year or so, to take a course in positive intelligence, which was all about saboteurs, and it named 12 saboteurs. And it was incredibly helpful to be able to identify them. And once you are able to identify them, because they operate unseen, right? They just pop up. And you don't even know they're there. But once you know, and you can say, that's my judge. That's the judge judging that person or judging myself for not being good enough. Oh, there's the perfectionist telling me that this needs to be better. Or there's the pleaser. Or there's the victim. So, for example, if I have a friend and I've written to that friend maybe a couple of times and she hasn't responded to me, then my victim can kick in and say, and make up a story about why that is, and how, and the story can get worse and worse and worse about how she must hate me. And, I've done something to upset her, and all these things I can make up. If you recognize, wait a minute, there's the victim in action, it takes that power away. And this is why I said in the beginning, you're not so easily able to be manipulated when you recognize which saboteur is functioning. And just to give you an idea of the power of this, of the saboteurs and how they take over, if it's okay, I'll just share a very quick example. So I played tennis for a number of years, and there's a club locally that I belong to. And recently, at the beginning of this year, I started playing pickleball, which is something that's really growing in the US. And I attended an event which was organized by someone, and she knew all the skill levels of the different players who were going to be there. And so she put a lot of time and effort into organizing who was going to play with whom and against whom and what court and all of that. So the first round she said, okay, Linda is playing with this person and they're playing against these two people. And so we went off to the court, and the people who came to play against us, I knew were not the people she had said. And so my perfectionist then kicks in and says, oh, no, excuse me, she said to other people, so I think you're on a different court. And they said, well, we're here now, so we might as well play. And oh my goodness, my perfectionist would not let that go. And I recognized, that's the perfectionist, but it was a whole body thing. It would not let me enjoy playing because I knew this was wrong and they shouldn't be there and we were supposed to be playing somebody else. And I was saying to myself, who cares?
Yeah.
Who is it this upsetting? Who is being affected by this? And the truth was, the only person who was affected was me. But even though I recognized that, and I knew it was the perfectionist, it didn't go away until after that round, and we finished playing with them, and then we were playing with some other people. But if I had not been able to recognize that could have stayed with me not only the whole day, but probably beyond that as well. But it was just incredible to me to become aware of the intensity and of how it completely took me over, and this was not right, So that's just an example of how the saboteurs can affect us. And so once you become aware of them and you can say, there's the perfectionist, there's the judge, it takes that power away, and it gradually reduces the amount of power they have over you.
When you're aware, you care. When you care, you do something about it.
Absolutely. I love that. Yes.
Nicely put. Miss Sara Jane.
My monkey mind can be the worst at times. And I get it, because, and I love what you're saying, Linda. Actually, we could do with that list.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share it.
Maybe we could make it a blog on the website, because
Yes.
I think that would be brilliant to share with people, because I try desperately to stay out of judgment. You sort of talked about that, or email and somebody didn't respond. I had so many times when I've arranged, sort of to have a conversation with somebody and they just don't turn up. Granted, it's all online, so at least I haven't gone somewhere to do it. But my immediate reaction, I suppose, but I've trained myself. My immediate reaction is, I hope they're okay and nothing's gone wrong. So I've been able to control that ego monkey mind in that respect. Because yes, it'd be very, very easy to drop into. I'm not saying I'm not thinking, something's happened. Could they not have let me know they're not going to turn up? I still think that. But my immediate reaction, and the email I send, or the message I send is, I hope everything's okay. Because I think, and I know I've done it, I've just not turned up. I've just thought, oh my God, I forgot. But we can't go in judgment of ourselves. And I feel awful because I know I don't like it when people do it to me. But it's the staying out of judgment. It's the, do you know what? If you make a mistake, you've made it. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's forgiveness of self. And it really is about, okay, where's that mind gone? And it tends to be my mind more than anything, that monkey mind, that ego mind that is trying to get angry things. And it's just like, please, why? But then I've also had that sense, several years ago, I was driving past a house and an ambulance had just gone past me and then pulled into this house. And as I walked past that house, drove past that house, the tears were suddenly streaming down my cheeks. So if you've got an overactive monkey mind, is this my stuff or am I picking up on somebody else's? So it's not always our own. So I think it's, as you were saying, be kind to yourself. Yes, we do have our saboteurs. We do. And I'd love to see what that list of 12 is. I think that would be something really good to share on the blog page. But it's not always our stuff. We work with energy. Other people's energy can affect us.
Be draining.
Oh, 100%. I don't know whether people have read the Celestine Prophecies.
Yes.
Years since I read that. But it was about the vampires, and it was about those people who drain your energies. But it also shared, obviously, about those people that can feed you without draining themselves, and you can feed others without draining yourself. So what is going on? But also a point I think it was you made, Linda. What are we saying to ourselves? And I'm one of these people. Sarah, you've done really well this morning. And a couple of times in the day, you've really achieved today. Well done. Congratulations. You don't need other people's praise.
Exactly.
You require your own. And the more of those things you can do for yourself, I think you can start to quiet. There's still going to be something that will try and niggle you.
Always, yes.
But is it your energy or is it actually somebody else's?
May I ask a question of the panel?
Yeah.
How do you rejuvenate your own energy when you feel that somebody has drained it? You could be, as you said, walking by. You've had a particular client or something where you just feel, the energy has gone south. How do you rejuvenate your own energy?
Linda.
Well, one of the things I know is that the more sensitive you are, the more empathic you are, the more you will be impacted by other people's energy. And I've had many experiences of, feeling fine 1 minute, and then the next minute I'm just feeling awful. And if you don't know, if you're not aware that you could have picked up somebody else's energy, it's really difficult, because you'll try and make yourself feel better, or do things for yourself, or you could do all the things in the world to take care of yourself, and it doesn't go away, and you wonder what's going on. So the first thing for me is I always ask, is this mine or isn't this mine? And as soon as I recognize it's not mine, I just set the intention that I will lovingly send it back to wherever it came from. Because I can't do anything with it, right? I can't do anything with it. So I think that for me changes my energy instantly. Once I recognize it's not mine and I'm sending it back, then I can restore my energy. And maybe I need to do something else as well to boost myself. But that really is the key for me, recognizing it.
So I do I do Reiki, and I work with hospice. And once every couple of months, I will do a day of Reiki at the hospice offices, to take care of the nurses, the volunteers, the administrators, the secretaries, and whoever else would like it. So I will do 10, 12 consecutive half hour. And when I first started learning about energy, I was thrilled. So I would find what was going on, and I'd take it into myself, and I'd take it away from them, and I'd bring it into my body, and then I'd get rid of it. Except I couldn't get rid of all of it. It stayed. And so then all of a sudden, the next morning, my shoulder's really hurting, and I didn't do anything to hurt it, but man, it's hurt. So learning different modalities about keeping energy in front. And when I work with energy, I keep it at arm's length, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I allow the energy to do the work instead of me pushing it. I allow it to do it. And not to say that I haven't had, I've had Klingons before. I don't know if that term, if you all noted, but energies that kind of stick to me when I've done clients, and I haven't fully cleansed. So what I do generally is I take a shower, and in the shower, I go up, I go down, I clear myself, and when I do 7, 8, 9 hours of Reiki consecutively like that, people say, "Aren't you exhausted?" I'm flying high. I'm walking about 3 feet off the ground.
Yes.
And for those listening who've never experienced Reiki, this is what Reiki is all about. It's about moving energy. And when you move that much energy for that long, you just start floating. And it's a wonderful feeling. So I've learned not to accept other people's energies. I am married to an empath, and she still feels that she takes off of reading a thing off Facebook, and she will suddenly break down in tears because she just is so moved. And I just have never been able to teach her how to just kind of feel it and not accept it fully. You know, she's got this enormous heart and sensitivities, and I absolutely adore her for it. But it just is sometimes crippling because there is so much energy coming at her that she accepts. So energy is a funny thing, but once you understand it and see it, make friends with it. And as a reformed perfectionist and a reformed judge of all that is in front of me, everything that came off the shoulders really helped me to accept things and be present instead of thinking I had control or that things should be a certain way because I saw it that way, so everybody should, right? Everybody sees things the same way. Obviously not. And that it allowed me to be present. And I was a much nicer person, by the way.
Right. Yes.
I because allowing other people to be who they are And it's the hardest thing.
Mm.
The hardest part I've found with working with clients is for them to allow.
Back to the allow again.
Back to the allow. Allow the energy. Allow the whatever what your feels are. Allow those things to come in. They may be uncomfortable because you're not used to them, but damn, you're going to feel good about it.
Life changer.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, Sara Jane, you're next.
When I learned metamorphic technique, one of the major rules of it was you have to be detached.
Mm-hmm.
And having been a people pleaser, in fact, one person said to me, "Oh, you'll never be able to do that." Actually, to be perfectly honest, there are times when I think, am I too detached? Because I have learnt to be detached. When I offer the energy, because I don't see things, I don't hear things, but I have a sense of knowing. But I'm not always given anything. And it's just like I offer the energy. So offering a Reiki session or offering the sound, I offer the energy for them to accept or reject as they choose, to where in their life or their body they require it most. I'm totally detached from the outcome. Oh, I'm a human being. I'd love to know that something's happened, but that's not necessarily for me to know. And so within that ability to be detached, I also don't make masses of notes. In fact, I rarely make any notes at all, because that way I'm not holding on to any stuff of theirs. So it's easier for them to let it go. The more somebody's holding on, I remember talking to a therapist once and she said, "I make copious notes." I said, "I don't. I make that first consultation form and that's it."
Yes.
Because if I don't hold on to it, if I haven't got it written down, if I haven't, I may remember some people's stories, but I don't remember whose story.
Exactly.
Therefore, I have been able to stay that detached. And if I am feeling exhausted, and that could be because of something else going on, but it could just be because I've done too much, I'll go and give myself a Reiki session. I've hardly become a Reiki master and teacher and suggesting to all my students, give yourself a Reiki session and then don't do it myself. I open the channel for myself every night as I go to sleep, along with my healing list. And I open it for my food every morning. I tone my name on a daily basis. I ground twice a day. I put my roots down and I ask Archangel Michael for his deep blue cloak of protection on a daily basis. So we can do things to protect ourselves. It doesn't stop the stuff that's meant to get through getting through, but it can stop stuff that we don't have to experience from coming through. So I think that there's many aspects to the question you've asked, but now can you answer your own question?
Yes. Well, you hit the nail on the head for me. It's I call it the knowingness. You know very much about knowingness, knowing what you need to know in the now, in the present. And like when I'm doing a show or if I'm working with a client, it's about being present. If you are taking notes of this or that, then you're distracted. You're always behind. And when you're in that knowingness and you're basically channeling with that person, you are going to bring whatever you need to bring to that person when they need it most, because you're downloading, right? But it's the same with your own thing when you're feeling a lack of energy or feeling something that's uncomfortable. And it's okay, what do I need to do in this present moment? And, for me, if I am working and I'm feeling that, it's I go and watch animal rescues or something cute, something that's going to make me smile and bring a tear, I don't cry at life. I cry at these silly little things. And they just, warm my heart. They lift me back up. I also listen to music. And it's not the words, it's actually the music, which scientifically has been proven to bring back your equilibrium and put you back in a wave of frequency. And then I am back home. I'm back home with self and center. But it's always about, if my center is feeling off, whether I've gone into thought and not feelings of my wisdom, or whether, I've confronted that. Lately, I've been confronting stuff technically to do with my sight, trying to move it. And believe me, it's tested my patience. And it's like, I need to walk away from this. It's beginning to consume me. I've got to go and do something else. And then I will come back, address it, when I can be back more centered, because it's so easy to shatter yourself around outside of that. So I think it's knowing yourself and allowing the knowingness to come through you, back to being aware. I think kind of the words today are aware, allow, and knowing, trusting what it is that you know, and honing in on that. It may be different for everyone else. I can't ground. I can't put my feet in the earth. I feel the earth's discontent. Everybody's giving the earth its troubles. How about you give it its gratitude? It's love, because it needs it. It's tired of taking everybody's misery. It needs some lightening up. I can't touch the ground. I feel it. It's discontent. For me, it's the wind. The wind will blow things away for me and give me, and the water, the shower, the conduit of the water, where it kind of washes away the problems. I do tapping while I'm showering and just bring about that equilibrium again. So find out what it is that works for you and make sure that you put yourself in the present and do it. And that recalibrates you for you to be able to go do what you need to do next.
On the perspective of Mother Earth, which it is one of the actual energies that I work with the sound, and one of the things that I've done, and I suppose actually I've set it in place, so every time I go out for that walk in the woods, I'm offering energy to the area. I've had times when I've gone into the woods and I speak light language, and I've just gone into the woods jabbering in light language. I have no idea what I'm saying, but I know, but I know that the energy of that is coming from my soul. So therefore, it's got to be coming from love.
Yes.
And if that supports, and that's what it's about for me. On Monday this week, I actually spent probably 2 hours walking along the beach barefoot in the waves.
Lovely.
Grounding, earthing. It's, so whether you're touching the earth, whether you're touching the sand, whatever it is you're doing, but actually you can set and then forget that you've set it. That, okay, if my feet touch the earth, whatever that might be, or when I'm walking, even if my hands just go sort of like that or whatever, it doesn't matter. I offer that lovely energy to Mother Earth. And I think that's a support for us as well, because she takes such amazing care of us. But sadly, we miss out on that at times. So any other thoughts or little tips that support you, but potentially support life, if you like? But Linda, any thoughts?
Well, I think, we have so much more power than we think we have. And we often feel that we're at the mercy of other people's situations, whatever it may be. We've talked about the influence of other people's energy on us. If you know, for example, that a certain person tends to be an energy vampire and drains your energy or affects you in a certain way, you can simply set an intention if you know you're going to interact with that person. Or I do it if I'm going to go to a meeting with lots of people. I just set an intention before I go. I used to I used to protect myself, put the bubble of light around me and all of that. And then I thought to myself, if I'm protecting myself, that makes me feel like a victim. It's like somebody's doing something to me. And so I realized that all I needed to do was set an intention. And the intention is that my energy is my energy. Nobody's going to take it, manipulate it. I'm not going to take on anybody else's energy. And as long as I do that and I set that intention, I'm fine. I don't take on anything else. Nobody can manipulate my energy. They're left with their own energy. And that's been one of the best tools for me. It's a very simple tool as a highly sensitive and highly empathic person. That's helped me tremendously.
Good one.
Sara.
Well, I really like that one that you're talking about, and kind of a lot of it's back to being present, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, being present with yourself. And for me, it's all about the core. I know that if I am thinking something and I do not incorporate my core wisdom, I guarantee I'm going to do something wrong and make a mistake, because I'm coming purely from the head and the head dictation or expectation. And so for me, it's all about whatever comes my way, does the core connect with it? Does the core believe in it? And again, I do not need to know facts. I just need to know that feeling. Yes, it feels right. And you know, I say blind, deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel. Take that step. Move forward. What you need to know will be revealed on each step. Pay attention. Be aware. Slow down. I used to be the hare. I had a vision. I would run. I want everybody to share the vision. I'm now the tortoise. And as being the tortoise, I am the gatherer of people and wisdom and knowledge and appreciation along the way. And so it's slow down and pay attention to what is your core saying to you? What is your soul, heart, and spirit saying to you? It will never lead you wrong. It will always put you in the right direction. Stop being so in a hurry for the whole manual and understand all you need to know right now is this. Participate in this and it will reveal what is next. And just take that deep breath and go.
Yeah. Scott.
When I started learning, I thought that it would be very straightforward. And so, and I had friends of mine who just laughed at me because that's how learning was for me, right? But now it's, oh, what about this and over here and this, and so it's just constantly moving, changing, and it's that curiosity about what's next, about allowing your path to kind of go. I ended up in India, and I was, you know, my buddy who loves to travel, I put it to him. I said, how would you like to go to India? And he's like, well, no, I don't, it's not for me. And then I realized I was going, and I was not on my top 10 list, but I ended up going to India for 2.5 weeks, and it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Had no inclination to go to Peru. And I went last year, and it was out of this world. It changed me. It changed the core of me. And it's being open. I talk about habits versus rituals, and habits that people have, they kind of put their keys down in the same place every time. But when it's not there, they don't know where they put it because they weren't really present when they were doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that rituals, when we do them on a regular basis and we are present with them, become rituals because there's more of us into it. So what I do on a daily basis is yoga and meditation. And in my meditation, I always bring it out to everybody who needs it. I send that energy out when I gather it all to whoever needs it, whether I know them or not, whether it's Mother Earth, whatever needs healing, I send it out. And I never understand if it makes any difference. I hope it does. But I know that if everyone gives that gratitude, much like you were saying, Sarah, giving that gratitude to Mother Earth, that giving that energy, it does change everything. It does change who you are.
Elevates.
And walking into a room full of people, I've always felt, I've always felt comfortable walking into the room, no matter who it was or where it was. And I just wear my energy. I was walking into a school, and a young lady looked at me and says, "I have to say hello. I have to meet you." I said, "Why is that?" She said, "I've never seen anybody walk in with as clear energy as you have." She didn't realize that she could see it as well as she did. And come to find out that she is actually a fairy. She is Fae, which was, I had met very few of those true Fae in life, but it was amazing that she saw that in me, and I didn't see that in myself. But I worked at it every day, right? Self-Reiki every day. I do that clearing. I do the grounding. I do the getting everything that I try and tell everybody else that they should do, because I'm really excited about it. But it's when I don't do those practices that I feel very, very off.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right, go back to basics. And it really does. It really works that way. And thank you for the question. It really does resonate. Thank you.
It's important for each and every one of us to be true to ourselves.
Absolutely.
To find the things that work for us. It doesn't matter how many people tell you one thing works. If it doesn't resonate with you, it's not for you. And that's okay. That is why there are so many of us doing many different things. And something I have always said to people is there are 3 aspects to every session. The room. If you're not comfortable in that room, you are not going to get the best out of that. If you're really not comfortable with the practitioner, you're with the wrong person. It's not going to work. The final part is the actual session itself. And if those first 2 don't work, it doesn't mean you'll get nothing out of it. It just means you won't get what you really should have got out of it. Find the individuals that work for you. And I think this is one of the things that it's very important to me. I help people to get themselves out there. That's what it's about. That's why I do these programs, the interviews, etc., etc. I encourage people to come on and share, because the more of us can get out there, the more of us that can share our energies, the right people will find you. I absolutely get I am the wrong person for a lot of people. I am absolutely not the right person for some people, but I am the right person for others.
Look for your vibe tribe.
And I just put it out there. What you and I do, Sara, but Linda and Scott, what we do is, this isn't about us. This is about the lives that we can touch to support them when they are ready to take their life back for themselves. That's what it's about for me. I'm not looking to become famous. I'm really not. But if people get to know my name, fine, but that's not why I do this. If getting to know my name means you start to listen to the people that I'm talking to, that's the important thing.
That's the reason why we do it.
Yeah. So just very quickly, because we've only got a few minutes left, any final words of inspiration that you have for folks, Linda?
Well, I think what we've shown through the discussion today, we've talked a lot about allowing, we've talked a lot about being present and awareness. To me, the key to everything is self-awareness, because if you don't know yourself, you don't understand your energy, you don't understand what works for you, what doesn't work for you. That's where you need to put your effort, is on understanding yourself. The more you understand yourself, the the less people can manipulate you, the more you can channel your energy in the way that is right for you. So it all comes down to self-awareness, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Sara?
I always say on my shows is listen, learn, and apply. Mm-hmm. There's always something that you've listened to that you've sat up on and go, oh, that's speaking to me. Well, don't just dismiss it when the podcast or the show is over. It's about how do I apply it? How do I apply it in a way that it can help pivot my life in a direction I want to go? What is my self-discovery of my wisdom? How do I access that wisdom? You know, a lot of people will maybe listen, but truly are they hearing? Are they hearing to actually apply? And are they really on that journey of self-discovery, or are they still trying to just fit in? Because it's not about fitting in. It's about you being your own beautiful, unique energy and the gift that you are to everyone else. That discovery of self and what your energy is, what your ability is, what your gift is to society, and how you can share it is the beautiful journey of life. But it comes from the willingness to listen, to learn from everything and everyone, nature, people, every situation you go through. And then how do I apply that wisdom in a way that's going to enlighten me, lift up my conscience, my whole vibration to a higher level of understanding so I can be there for others along the way.
Thank you, Sara. Scott?
I absolutely love it. It brings me back to why I wrote in this book with Miss Sara. And that is because when you have 25, 27, 30 people who are telling the story on a subject, someone, at least one of those stories is going to resonate when you pick up that.
Yes.
You're going to say, oh, they're talking to me. And that's where that allowing it in, understanding it, and making it happen for yourself.
Yeah. That
they speak to you. And that's why these collaborations are so important. Please, for anyone out there, just take the time to read and understand and listen. It will change your life.
Digest.
Bless you, each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining myself and Scott, Linda and Sara. Please, thank you. Folks, if you are, I've put Sara and Linda's website addresses in the chat, but if you're watching the video on YouTube, you will find actually all 4 of ours underneath the video. If you want to learn a little bit more about what each of us do, please feel free to do that. If you feel you wish to connect with one of us, please feel free to do that. You can do that through our websites.
Yes.
Please do that. We are here to support people on their healing journey, their life journey. But we can't do it for you, but we can support you along that journey yourself if you wish us to support you. There is somebody out there who can do that for you. So thank you, Linda, Sara, and Scott. It's been a real pleasure.
Get the book. Get the book.
Oh, absolutely. I did
get the book. Get the book. Change someone's life.
And we will be doing a physical copy, hopefully before the end of this year, 2025. If you're watching this beyond that, it should be available as a physical copy. Next week, I am joined by, I hope I get her name right here, Olga Cherniaveska. And she's going to be sharing with us supporting the well-being of helpers and high achievers. So everybody requires support, everybody. So I hope you'll consider joining us for that. And today's conversation will be back again in a couple of weeks' time. So thank you each and every one. It's been a real pleasure, as always, to be with you all. Take care, be safe, stay well. Namaste, sweet souls.
Bye.
Bye.